Hi, everyone, and welcome to the See You at 6 Network. I am Carmine Danisco, your co-host for today's show of The Coffee House. It's an awesome show where we travel around the country. Well, I don't really travel around the country. My co-host, Mr. Christopher Shower, travels around the country, drinking coffee, eating good food, getting free things, and I sit in the studio running the camera. So let's bring him on and see what he has to say and see where he is today. Hey, Chris, where are you, man?
Carmine, you're not going to believe this. I am having a pumpkin chai at Hastings Tea and Coffee, where we shop with Jay. I wanted to let you know I got my cool shirt from Hastings. Is that different for me?
Perfect for you, man. Perfect.
I don't know about the perfect part, but all right. It's because of this place. I'm having my first chai, and in a couple of minutes, I want to bring on the gentleman that I once saw here, and I want to tell you about him. This is a really good story because it goes into the whole concept of the coffee house. I'm sitting here one day, we did a shoot a couple of weeks ago, if you recall, with Jay from Pamal Broadcasting. Jay has got a great radio voice, so he's very crisp, and his voice carries. Well, one of the things that interested us when we were finishing up, I thought this gentleman was the assistant manager was coming over to kind of say, that was a little loud. This great entertainment musician artist came over and gave us both his cards, his business card. Said, I do something very interesting. I would love to chat with you about it. I looked over at Jay and I go, well, that's how this works.
Yeah.
Before leaving, I said to Shay, I'm so glad you came over and gave the card. Thank you for the hospitality here. We love this place. We want to promote this place. But mostly, thank you for coming over. You fall into the whole idea of paying attention. What are people doing in a coffee house? Why are they talking? What are they talking about? How many deals get made? And with the next couple of places I've done, you're going to see, I'm going to really blow it away with the next interviews. And I reached out to Shay because he is just unbelievable, some of the stuff he's done. And I want to get off of me because, I could talk all day. I was just trying to get you back because you said when we did Freight House, you didn't let me talk. It wasn't that you didn't let me talk. Donna was so awesome that I just said, I'm just going to listen and learn because she really blew me away.
Yeah, she was good.
Going to do the same. So I leave it to you guys. I'll jump in with some questions for Shay.
Yeah, very good. Hey, Shay, man, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, guys. It's great. It's my first time actually doing a podcast in Westchester, so it's pretty cool. So I'm glad that you guys have me here.
That's cool. That's cool. You must have made some impression there on Chris because he very seldom shares the camera with anyone else.
Camera hog.
Were you responsible for getting him that shirt?
No, I was not, but I should have been. Should have had one a lot sooner. I'm sorry that I didn't.
Kind of an oxymoron for him because he's not really ever been cool. He is a nerdy kind of guy.
Yeah.
So Shay, you from the area of in the coffee shop, the Hastings area? I mean, not Hastings, the Hastings coffee shop area.
Yeah. So I'm originally from. I'm born in Brooklyn, but raised in St. Paul, Minnesota. I spent about 10 years in St. Paul, and then I came back here to study for school. So I've been living out in Westchester for about, I would say, 8 years.
Oh.
I've been here.
Okay. So let me get this straight. So you were raised in Brooklyn.
Yes, I was. I'm born in Brooklyn, but I was raised in St. Paul.
So that is crazy.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, oh my God. What a change. What a difference.
Yeah. It was, it's pretty weird. But to make a long story short, when I was younger, I was an orphan, so I had lost both of my parents. And I was pretty much like, I came from nothing, so like I sort of just built my whole career, and I kind of like had to raise myself as a man to sort of get to where I needed to be. So that with life experience and being in the streets and having that sort of street knowledge plus an education, kind of what brought me out of a lot of difficult circumstances into something more positive and more progressive. and more betterment for my health as well. So.
Wow. Oh man, that is a story, my friend. Whoa.
Yeah.
Now going to Minnesota, Minnesota, you said?
Yeah, Minneapolis. Yeah, I was in St. Paul. Yeah.
Was that with a family?
Yeah. So I was originally, yeah. So it was strange because I was with a foster family at the time when I was in Minnesota. I'm not going to dive too much into it, but
Yeah.
I was with a foster family at the time, and then my mom. I was still like, like living with a family member. So they were kind of fighting for custody type of thing. And then eventually my family member had won, and I was shipped right back to New York.
Wow.
So I've had a interesting journey of homelessness and all types of things. Like
he
typical.
started when he was young.
I started music when I was
14,
young. Yeah, I was like about 13, 14 years old. And I've been playing and composing ever since.
Did you say composing?
Yeah, I'm a composer, producer, MC, and I play a couple instruments, and yeah, I do a lot.
That's so cool. Is that something that really helped you through some of the tough times? The music, your music.
Definitely, I feel that as a kid, I had a lot of rage, and I had a lot of anger, and it was very displaced until I was able to vent it in a way that was musically trained. Because when you don't have that training, it's hard to express the things that you're struggling with. And I eventually got the training that I needed. And yeah, man, it helped a lot. And, there's a lot of cats that I knew that, died in the streets that I come from, so the fact that I was able to, navigate through all that, I just got to thank the Father for that, for, keeping me alive. And,
Wow.
Yeah.
I congratulate you on that, man. Just like you said, just to survive and get out of there.
Yeah.
You picked a really tough business. The music business seems like, to me, it seems like a tough business, right?
It is. And, the thing about it was that when I got into the industry, I felt that I was more into the industry when I received my first distribution deal. And when that happened after I graduated college, in the first 6 months after I graduated college. And after I started getting these distribution deals, I started realizing that record labels weren't a thing anymore. I can create myself. I can invent myself. Like, I didn't have to answer to anybody. Like, whatever I created, I owned, and
Very smart.
I felt like I needed to make a name for myself at that time. So I started out doing instrumental hip hop. I composed instrumental hip hop from scratch. So I'd have like, I have a DJ Pioneer scratcher at home, and I bought all these instruments. I play a guzheng, which is a Chinese instrument. I play shakuhachi, which is a Japanese instrument, Japanese flute, and I play saxophone, guitar, violin, cello, piano. So I have all these instruments sitting in my house. So I'll record a lick here, and then like I'll cut it up, and then I'll record a jazz hit lick there, and it's
wow. Hey Chris, you listen, hey Chris, you hearing this stuff?
Yeah.
I just want to know if you're recording.
Well, Chris, when he was mentioning those instruments, I thought he was cursing at me for a second.
Oh my gosh.
I never heard of some of those.
Listen, it's like when someone speaks a different language, they don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
I think he's pulling it away, but
Yeah.
He's straight up.
No. I'm definitely straightforward. I'm just clean.
Yeah. When you're ready, I have a couple of questions.
Wow.
When you're ready.
But yeah, pretty much. So I do that, and I pretty much just sort of built myself through the instrumental sort of scene. I found my niche while I was in college, which was like a very important thing, because I felt like as far as professors go and things of that nature, you got thousands of students paying thousands of dollars, going to thousands of dollars of debt, and they're never going to make it in the industry going the way that they're going. All the things that they're teaching is nothing that's happening in the mainstream right now, so it's just like everything is just so predated, and no one's learning what they need to learn to actually survive and navigate through the industry alone by themselves without selling their soul practically, so when I started doing this myself, and I started my first track is called Sunflower Lotus. You can check it out. It's an instrumental song that I wrote for an artist that kind of inspired me. His name's Nujabes, Nujabes. And I was kind of inspired by those guys and Jay Dilla and Bishop Nuru, those guys in the underground industry that sort of did those sort of instrumental type stuff. So I was super into the raw, organic way of composing music. So when I started doing that, I started standing out because people were just like, I've never heard that before. He's doing certain things he's never done before. So that's when I started building a name for myself. I got over 100K, I think, plays or views on YouTube on my first single. And, you know, people started like finding me, and, you know, I started making relationships and sort of building my relationships with business partners, but at the same time, you know, finding my niche and creating something that kind of wasn't being done, that hasn't been made, you know, and it was really cool.
Well, how does Japan fit into that?
So, good question. So I was in college. I was in my freshman year of college.
Where? What college?
Purchase College Conservatory of Music.
Okay.
So I started my freshman year, and I wasn't musically trained as far as knowing how to read music. A lot of hip hop guys don't know how to read music, you know, and that's what I struggled with. But I had an ear. I had like one of the strongest ears in my class, and, you know, to get into the program, like 1,000 people applied and only 12 would get in for the year.
Wow.
So I was one of 12, and I was the only African American that got in. So it was like a lot of pressure on me to succeed and to do better. So when I got in and people were better than me, it kind of messed with me, you know, because I'm just like, yo, you know, if I'm going to start bringing these crazy tracks and things to the table, I got to show that, you know, I have what it takes to survive this industry. So I started, after my freshman year, I went into my sophomore year, and I started taking 30 credits per semester because I was very serious about getting out of school. You know, I didn't want to spend more time than I needed. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go on tour. And I planned the whole thing out myself. It was nuts. I didn't know a lick of Japanese. I didn't know where I was going, but all I knew was that I had to get out to Japan, you know, because that's where I always wanted to be. I grew up watching anime. I grew up watching, like, you know, Hayao Miyazaki films, because I also composed video game music. So I was super into that stuff, you know. So I'm like, yo, I got to find a way to get out there. And so I spoke to my principal. I spoke to the president of the school, and then I spoke to all the dean of affairs and stuff like that. So I had to get everyone to sign off on this thing, because if I was gonna go away, you know, for a certain period of time during school, it had to be for something serious. Like, you know, it had to be something jaw-breaking that was gonna jumpstart my career. So I was like, all right, cool. I got their signatures. I booked my flight. I didn't know where I was going. I just said Tokyo, and Tokyo.
Wow.
And I got on a plane. I flew to Tokyo. I was in Tokyo for a month and a half to 2 months. I was in Tokyo in a really shitty Airbnb, which stinked of flies and roaches, but I was in Japan, you know, and that was phenomenal to me. So my first instance when I got there, I was like, I need to find where all the local clubs and lounges are, because that's where I'm going to get my music played. And I Googled this stuff, and the first lounge I checked out, which you should definitely check out, is Gravity Bar and Lounge. It's in Shinjuku. It's about it's about 15 minutes away from Tokyo. So I go into this lounge. There's nothing but Japanese guys there, and I'm like speaking English, and they're like, oh, like, you know, like, I'm dressed all like, I'm like rocked out, pimped out, and these guys are like so shocked that, you know, that I'm just here. I have like a bag of CDs, you know, and I'm like handing out my CDs and stuff, and they bump my stuff, and they're like, one guy comes out, and he's like the owner. He's like, he says this one line in English: "I need you to come back Saturday," and that was it. That's all I understood. And the next week I came back that Saturday, and the club was crowded. And the owner comes, he's like, I want you to meet so and so, and like all these Japanese girls came up to me, and I was like, oh, this is a dream come true. Like, I'm in paradise, you know. This is so great, you know. And people are buying my music, and you know, it was just such a phenomenal experience coming from where I came from. I never would have thought that I would have survived and lived to see the world like that. And
you said you got a lot of followers.
oh yeah, that jump started my career. Once I left Japan and I switched from doing rock to hip hop, like all my Japanese fans like just moved over, and you know, they've been chilling, listening to my beats and stuff ever since. So it's dope stuff, and I'm going back this year. I'm going back February, last week of February, to meet and do some connects and stuff. I'm going to a different part of Japan. I'll be in Osaka this time. And then I'm going to do a tour there in September or October. And then I got a tour in UK.
Well, I have a question for you. Comment something interesting.
Saiwai. Yeah.
Is not, that's your stage name?
Yeah, that's my stage name. Yeah.
I saw that it's an underground hip hop, jazz hip hop, trip hop artist.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm gonna break this down. You got a lot of like different things happening. So underground hip hop is a genre where, you know, it's all about, you know, spreading the message, spreading the truth. You guys know, you know, guys like Mos Def and, you know, old school cats like that from the 80s and the 90s. That, you know, so it's that stuff, you know, just underground hip hop, mostly. It's the origination of lyrically experiences that happened in the streets being performed on the stage, you know, and a lot of those guys come from doing originally spoken word and stuff like that. So, you know, that's like just the one style. Now the jazz hip hop, it's a mesh of jazz and hip hop. So there's a song I want you to check out. It's called Ties That Bind. I have an official music video for that song. It's on YouTube. You can Google it. Saiwai.
Say that again.
It's called Ties That Bind. So
Ties That Bind.
Yeah. And if you watch that video, I'll start out rapping, and then like the composition will have like an underlying sax line. So I play saxophone at the same time while I'm rapping, and you know, it's a mesh of like two genres where, you know, you wouldn't think would fit, but at the same time they would. And so it's a very complex thing because you have jazz. I play a lot of complicated. I'm a jazz guitarist as well. So, you know, we got those 7 and 9 chords and all those things going on to sort of break those things down and sort of formulate it into something simple so it can flow with the simplicity of the hip hop is what makes jazz hip hop, you know, so unique, you know. But usually it's either meshed with sax or some type of piano.
So where does the weightlessness come in of your music when you say weight?
When you listen to my music, my style of music, it's more of a sense of when you put on headphones to listen, you're free. You get what I'm saying? You feel like there's no weight. You know, there's nothing heavy on you. When you're listening, it's like you're on a cloud. You know, and you're either reminiscing about your life, or you're reminiscing or reflecting about something, or you're trying to overcome something. It's always music of encouragement, always music of overcoming an obstacle or giving suggestions or to things to sort of help better somebody's life. And from where I came from, I always want to create music, not only for myself and for adults, but for children. You know, the music industry is just disgusting right now with what the mainstream music industry, what they're pushing with children and women. And, you know, we have to have some sense of order, and we have to have some sense of, you know, just originality when it comes to sort of being a positive enforcement to our children and to, you know, being a leader, you know, and that's what that style of music does. That's where that weightlessness comes from, you know.
Very cool. Hey, Chris.
Where does the part of music through Roots
Of Society Records.
Society Records. Is that another label?
Yeah. So I got signed. So when I first got signed, first 6 months, I got signed to Roots of Society Records, and that was an independent label signed. Yeah, Sacramento, California.
I thought it sounded.
Yeah. So they were based in Sacramento, California, and they were like old school cats from back in, you know, early 2000s. They were like on a come up where sort of lyrical hip hop was sort of leaving and it was transitioning into like trap and all that other stuff. Yeah, all that. I don't even get me started on that. But yeah, after that label, I had got signed to a label called Style and Love Records, and they started distributing my music. Someone heard me in Korea, and when they did, they offered me a distribution deal, 2-year distribution deal, and from there they submitted my music to Sony Music. I'm in Sony Music in Korea, where my music's being played out there as well. So I have a few affiliations throughout,
very good.
throughout the world, which is like really cool,
Very, very good. So your production management, your Sounds of Silence is what.
Yeah, so Sounds of Silence was a studio that I originally created. I just recently created about a few weeks ago, and because I'm not gonna be doing a lot of albums anymore. I released about 8 or 9 albums in the past 2 years, so I'm giving myself a little break, and I want to work on sort of getting artists, giving artists a voice. And the whole concept of Sound of Silence is just giving a voice to the unspoken, to the people who are being bullied, the people who are being oppressed and never get a chance or an opportunity to express themselves through music. And I feel like creating this studio is going to give them a chance to do that, because we're not in the mainstream. There's not a lot of attention. There's not a lot of pressure. We're super underground. So if someone wants to express themselves and they don't want too much attention, that's our job, is just to give them a platform to sort of get them jump started. Yeah, so
Very cool. Very cool. Hey, Sai, real quick question. I know you have these things you're striving for, which are awesome. First of all, so I have to congratulate you on all the things that you're saying. I'm in awe while you're talking. And I have to, after the show, talk to Chris, because he's embarrassing me. I can't even play the radio. And you can play like 10 instruments, and
yeah, it's crazy.
But so you're definitely achieving a lot of your goals. What is it that people can help you with, or what are you looking for to bring you to that next level?
He froze, but he's having a connection issue probably.
Did he pick that up at all, Chris, or no?
No, we didn't.
Say again, you
have to say that again.
Oh, no, okay. So I was saying that you're achieving a lot of your goals, which is awesome. To get to that next level, what are you looking for? Are you looking for investors? Are you looking for people to help you? Or are you going to do it all on your own? How can people get involved to help you? Because, dude, you're doing some great stuff, man.
Yeah. What I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to get sponsors.
And the right agent.
I'm trying to get the right agent.
Yeah.
I need an agent, definitely. Because I'm planning a tour, and this tour is going to be one of the biggest tours ever, because this is my last year actually doing albums, so there's not going to be any more album performances. So I have to go out with like a bang, So I definitely am looking for an agent. GoFundMe, if any of you guys are willing to donate to the cause, I would greatly appreciate it.
Carmen, if I can intercede a minute here, I have a big meeting next week at the recording studio, and I'm going to bring Sai with me. One of the big podcasts we're going to be shooting, and the next one will be at the studio with a legendary actor. I want to bring him down there. I want our partner to hear him go through what we've discussed, and we can open some doors. Definitely open some doors.
I would definitely.
This gentleman has done his work. And to your question, Carmine, when we first shot here at Hastings Tea and Coffee, you had asked me, what does it take? How much work? And he is a model of what it takes. And I'm happy to try and open that door for him and take him to a level that maybe it can explode, mushroom bigger than I would expect, just hearing him, because he's blowing me away.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that much about the music industry, but it seems like he has laid such groundwork, such a foundation, that it really is going to help you guys to work with them, right?
Absolutely. Like I said, to get back to the whole Hastings Tea, this gentleman was smart enough to be listening in, smart enough to know what it takes. to get in front of people, to put your face there. And look, when someone hands me a card and they go out of their way the way Shay did, I looked him right in the face as I walked out the door, and I said, "This is how it works.
Yeah.
This is what you need to do." And this is why it's a perfect drop set for him to listen in coffee houses, which is, part of our whole mantra of what we're doing, because a lot of deals get made at coffee houses. And I got to say, from the last one we did to this one, I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Shay, real quick. I mean, you've really done some travel the world. I mean, just get up and go to Japan. I mean,
that's not the only place I've been.
I know, that's what scares me. I mean, I'm hesitant to go to Miami. I live in Clearwater. It's so. I mean, it's so cool that you've done that. What's one of the main things that you have learned throughout your travels? I mean, something that you hold with you.
And I hope this gets to a lot of people out there. I feel like the main core of not just issues as that my people struggle with, but just people in general, is the fact that we need to stop making excuses. You get what I'm saying? You can put so many different things and distractions in front of things all you want to, race this or this, that, or, those are nothing but distractions, and it will do nothing but hinder you from being successful and being better for yourself. You want to be better, and you want to be healthy, and you want to get out there. The first thing I tell people is, travel the world. You have to get out of your box. When I left Brooklyn, and I went back to Brooklyn, 10 years later, and I'm still seeing the same guys there. That just sends you a message. Yeah. Like what is going on? You can tell that there's something, that's stopping that individual from succeeding, whether it's their circumstance or their surroundings. But we should never let those things defeat us. And I feel like the main thing that we as people struggle with is just we have so many distractions. We have so many. We put so many. We're very emotional. We're very reactive. We're not focusing on what the true intentions and goals are for us as individuals. And even if we are seeking that, you have to be focused. You have to have consistency. And if you don't have that consistency, unfortunately, you're not going to go anywhere.
So to consistency, are you basically saying when the Brooklyn, is it habitual that they're just stuck in that? Is it because they can't?
It's a systematic thing. I think it's a systematic thing. It's ingrained in the school system. It stems from a lot of things, but you as an individual, you get to a point where you learn a certain amount of knowledge and wisdom and intelligence to where right from wrong. You know what's good for you, and you know what's bad for you. It's in your spirit, it's in your gut, and you know it. So knowing it's like eating healthy. I used to be a bodybuilder. I used to be 220 all muscle. I know what's bad for me, and I know what's good for me. And when I want to be successful, I'm cutting out that fat. You get what I'm saying? And that's the way I see it. Wow.
Man, you're wise beyond your years, man. I think if I close my eyes, Chris, I would think I'm talking to like a 70-year-old genius, right? I mean, this guy has so much knowledge and experience. It's crazy.
So, when I see brothers like me in the street and they're making excuses and they're saying, oh, well, I'm working a crappy job for this, you're selling yourself short. That's all it is, brother. You need to get in the books and you need to read and educate yourself and better yourself so you can move forward and discover these things, because there's so much of a world outside their box, that you have not seen. When you make it to places like Japan and Thailand and China, like, you're going to see some things, man. And it's great. It's so great, man. Eating and enjoying myself and speaking with different people. You accrue something so much different than what you had when you started. So. Wow. That's my advice to people, to get out there and travel the world and really go out there and see what's out there. It's not that expensive.
No.
People make excuses, it's not that expensive.
Yeah, say, so when you're traveling, and I speak with people all over the world in my business, what I find, and I see how you feel, is that no matter where they live, in what country, what language they speak, they all just want the same thing. They all just want to have a good life. They want to be happy. They want to take care of their family.
That's the problem.
They're not that much different, right?
Yeah, but see, that's the problem. You know, we live in a world where everything's set up in the media and in the TV and the movies, where we have this ideological concept that this is a projected life that we're supposed to live, and that's not true. There's so many people in Africa and in these third world countries that are poor as hell, and they're happy, you know. And at the end of the day, that's nothing but the grace of God, man. You know, and you know, at the end of the day, you have to find, you know, if materialistic things makes you happy, then that's fine. But unfortunately, there's so much out there more meaningful than that. You know, you're always going to try and seek those materialistic things to fill your void, you know, but it's never going to be enough, you know. So that's why I never want to be rich. I never want to be famous. I'm just here to spread a message. I'm here to help some people and educate some brothers and sisters, and, you know, be a generational leader, you know.
Awesome, man. I think you're really doing a great job. You're not just talking. That's what I love about what you're doing.
Yeah, I move.
You're putting in the time, man.
Exactly.
Very cool. So, all right. Well, I'm going to close up the show. We're running a little bit over.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in here a second, because mine disconnected.
Oh, yeah. I saw your
You're not
camera.
leaving me out there. Leaving me out there this time. I just wanted to just say what I found very interesting about this gentleman working here at Hastings Tea and Coffee, hustling, doing what it takes, and what better place to actually make these connections like we're making all over.
Yeah.
With other additions we're doing, and the entertainment and the artists. So I tip my hat to this team.
No, that's great. That's what's great about these coffee houses, man. Right side, you never know who's going to walk in the door.
You never know who's going to walk in the door. I mean, I have very sharp ears, so I don't play that. When I hear something, when I hear, I use those music ears when I am in my surroundings, and when I pick up on something, it's like a radar. When I pick up on something,
you got it, man, and you're doing it.
You know, so
just like me, except I don't have the music on.
Very cool.
But I got my
guys. I'm going to close it up. I appreciate you guys being on the show today. Coming from Hastings Tea and Coffee, which is an awesome place. We love it over there, and we really appreciate you being on site. We wish you all the best. I know that Chris is going to take care of you and do whatever he can possibly. He talked to me a little bit before the show. He's very, very impressed. I am very impressed by what you have accomplished, and we all wish you the greatest of luck. For myself, for Carmen Denisco, for Mr. Christopher Shay, we thank you for listening to The Coffee House, and we'll catch you next time on the See You at 6 Network. You all take care.